having that secondary income, right, of from a course or a membership or a coaching program gives you a lot more leverage and just sustainability and predictability in your business because you have another revenue income stream.
Hello and welcome to the Driven Female Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Melita Campbell, award-winning business coach, value whisperer, and founder of the Dream Clients Blueprint. Each week on this show, I quiz successful women about their business journey, the most important lessons they've learned along the way, and I ask them to share some of their expertise with you. My aim is to help you dream bigger and achieve more by learning from what works and gaining tools, tips, and insights from women who are building a range of amazing businesses. Today, I'm speaking with Anna Konchar, and we'll be discussing what it really takes to create a passive income and enjoy a 6 or 7 figure income while having the freedom to work just a couple of days a week. The good news is, yes, it is possible, and without having to sell your soul to the social media gods. Today's guest, Anna, is an online business mentor who teaches how to monetize the skills, knowledge, and passions you already have so you can put life first instead of work. After getting her MBA and realizing that the corporate world wasn't for her, Anna made it her mission to find a way out of her cubicle, and in 2016, she started a side hustle as a Facebook and Instagram ads manager for small businesses. She managed to scale this to 6 figures while working part-time and then turned her service into a multi-7-figure digital course. She went from $200,000 in student loan debt to running a multi-million-dollar online side hustle in less than 5 years. With her work today, Anna wants to help more people live the life of their dreams and have the freedom and financial security that she has. So welcome, Anna, to the show. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and I really am particularly excited. I know I say that every week, but I'm excited because you, like myself, you've built your business around your family and you've been able to do that part-time. And people are always asking me, how do you do so much? And I'm like, well, I don't, it's all the background processes and how to set up the business to make sure that I can run that business part-time. But you seem to run your business ultra part-time around your kids. So I'm really looking forward to finding out your secrets. I know that you're all about building a passive income with online courses. And in today's environment, it makes so much sense for every business owner to have an online and a passive income element to their business, to have that diversification. So I'm really eager to dive in and get your tips on what works and how to approach that, and particularly how to navigate the tech side of it, which I know a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to go anywhere near it. So we'll look at how we can make that accessible for people. But before we dive into all of that, I would love it if you could share with the audience a little bit more about your background and how you came to do what you do today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my entire professional background is in marketing and advertising. So my first internship was actually in London at an advertising agency. And then when I finished my undergrad degree, I went into advertising. And after working for a few years, I decided that I wanted to go back to school and get my MBA to help further my career, because I had this goal that I wanted to make $100,000 a year by the time I was 30. So I went back to school. I was in my MBA program. I got a very prestigious internship. It was everything that I was hoping for when I went into this program. And about 3 weeks into my internship, I realized that I really hate the corporate world. I was working at an international publicly traded company. I was like one of 10,000 people in this giant office park. And it was just not kind of the like sexy corporate gig that I thought it was going to be. And then also during that internship, my dad passed away unexpectedly. So I kind of had this like summer where I was questioning everything in my life, right? I had gone back to school because I thought the corporate route was what I wanted to do and what was going to give me the success that I thought I wanted. I saw my dad pass away unexpectedly. So I was really questioning, how do I spend my time? What do I want my life to actually look like? Because we never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So fast forward, and after I graduated with my MBA, I didn't want to work in corporate world. I didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do. So I decided to go into politics, which I do not recommend to anyone. But it was a really great experience because I had this background in marketing, but I didn't have a lot of experience in the digital world. And in this role at the political consulting firm that I was at for a few years, I learned Facebook ads and Google search ads and YouTube and email marketing and lead generation and all of these things that I was like, how did I not learn this in school? I have a communications degree, I have an MBA where I focused in marketing, and I didn't learn any of this. And after a few years of working literally 24/7, as you can imagine, in politics and campaigns, I realized that like this was not sustainable. And at that point, my husband and I had been married for like 6 or 7 years. We were thinking about starting our family. And I knew that I couldn't have the family life that I wanted and continue to work as much as I was. The only issue was is that I couldn't just leave because both my husband and I had gone back to grad school. So we had over $200,000 in student loan debt. So that was like a big catapult of like, okay, if I want to do something different, I basically have to tackle this debt first. So I decided to just start freelancing on the side and using these skills of email marketing and Facebook ads and lead generation for small and local businesses. And I grew that freelancing and service-based business to 6 figures while I was still at my kind of corporate consulting role, and then eventually went full-time to work for myself. Now, that being said, I basically traded clients that someone else had landed for my own clients. And it was great. And I loved the clients that I was serving, but I had a lot of ambition and I wanted to grow my business. And I saw that I could go 2 different ways. So one way was raise my prices as much as I could, with it still being financially responsible for my clients to work with me, or I could build out like a big team and an agency, right? So that I could continue to take on more clients. But that was basically what I was trying to leave. So then I got introduced into this entire world of like online education and courses and memberships. And one of my friends happened to tell me about Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast. And I had never even listened to a podcast before. And that introduced me to Amy Porterfield's podcast. And I kind of fell into this entire industry. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. I want to help so many more businesses, but I want to do it in a way that doesn't, involve me losing my sanity and having to work 24/7, and packaging my skills up into a course or a membership would allow me to scale significantly without having to work all the time or to build out a giant team. And that's really where it got me to where I am today. And what I loved about building my first course was not only did it help me scale my business significantly, but it also helped my business as a service provider give me a lot more say in who I was working with, right? So when you're a service provider, you kind of oftentimes get stuck on this, what I call the revenue roller coaster, right? A client comes in, a client leaves, a client comes in, a client leaves, a client comes in. And oftentimes you end up working with not ideal clients or discounting your prices because you don't know when a next client is going to come in. Well, having that secondary income, right, from a course or a membership or a coaching program gives you a lot more leverage and just sustainability and predictability in your business because you have another revenue income stream. So I launched my first, I will say, successful course in 2018. And my business has done over $1 million every year for the last 4 years. And I work 2 days a week. And now I have two little ones. And I help other people take their skills and knowledge and package it into a course and membership too.
Do you ever feel awkward or fake when it comes to telling people about your business or offers? Or feel disheartened when you do talk about what you do and people just don't get it? Don't worry, you're not alone. Many business owners struggle to confidently and comfortably articulate the true value of what they offer. But it's not something that many people teach as the first rule of business. Yet this one skill sets apart the real business owners from the hobbyists. And when you nail it, you can stop feeling like a fraud. And instead of feeling embarrassed when someone asks how your business is going, you can feel proud to speak of the income, impact, and lifestyle that you have created. You shouldn't feel overwhelmed working all the hours or offering discounts just to make ends meet in your business. If you feel that way right now, I have some good news for you. I've created a masterclass that will teach you exactly how to communicate your true value to your dream clients and how you can use this skill to sell without selling. Once you can articulate your true value with confidence and clarity in every interaction, you'll never be left wondering how to attract enough of the right clients to your business. Access your masterclass at melitacampbell.com/training. It's my gift to you to help you grow in confidence and thrive in your business in 2023.
So that's kind of where I got to where I am today and how I've been able to grow my business and help people and also have the family life that I want to have too.
Yeah, what an inspiring story. And you make it sound so easy. You said, I was working in my corporate career and I just started a side hustle, just started working with these clients. I suspect it wasn't just at all. Tell me more about that. You had the drive of earning this 100,000 to pay off your debts. That's always a very powerful motivator to earn
Yeah.
this money, to give us that freedom. But what else was there? Did you have any particular skills, or was it the marketing skills that you brought in that to help you find those first clients? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So, I think it was twofold. Like, one, I had this desire to pay off the debt. Two, I also had this desire to really have control of how I was spending my time. Because going back to my dad's death, like that really makes you evaluate how are you spending your time. And I could not imagine being in a cubicle for the next 40 years, spending half of my life working on things that really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And that I didn't feel like I was getting fulfillment out of or making an impact. So when I decided, okay, I think the best route for me to have the business and career and life that I want to have is to go and become my own boss, I honestly just started listening to different people who had achieved what I wanted, right? Because if they've done it, then clearly I can do it. I definitely did a lot of self-development through reading books and journaling and learning to meditate and just like really kind of listening to what did I want and then also learning from others on how they've been able to achieve it. But when it came to landing clients, I did think about what is the one skill that I have that can probably solve the biggest problem for a client, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing is I had this background in marketing, which is a lot of different skills. Like I ran TV ads and Facebook ads, and I had some PR experience, and I could put together a WordPress site if you need me to. But what was the one skill that I had that could really solve the biggest problem that my clients had? And every client, doesn't matter what size you were at, whether you were a solopreneur or a giant multiple billion dollar business, right? The biggest problem that they have to solve is they want to get new customers and they need to increase their sales. And it's really hard to do that in a predictable way, except unless you are using Facebook and Instagram ads. Because I knew from my experience running Facebook and Instagram ads for generating leads for political campaigns that once you figure out kind of a funnel, a sales funnel that works using Facebook and Instagram ads, you can predict, well, if I spend $1 on ads, then I'm going to get X amount in sales. So I went in thinking this is the number one thing that I can sell because it solves a huge problem. And then also because it's pretty predictable on how it can increase these sales. And even in the Facebook, which is now Meta, right? The Meta platform, ads platform, it even shows you how much money the business is making from the Facebook ads. So it was very easy to also show my clients the value that I was bringing them. So that was the biggest thing, was focusing on one thing, which I see this with a lot, whether it's you're a service provider or you are offering a course or a membership, right? There, you have to focus on one thing and one result, not do it for everyone and everything. So I didn't start out saying, I'm a digital marketer and I can help you with digital marketing. I can help you with Facebook ads. And how that really helped was, number one, I got known for something. So I got a lot more referrals that way, because if someone was asking about Facebook and Instagram ads, I was the person that they thought of. And then two, it also allowed me to really position myself as an expert, which helped me have higher prices. And then that's really what translated into my first online course, which was teaching people Facebook and Instagram ads.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest thing, is, figuring out what is that skill that solves the biggest problem, and then just going out and telling people. So I literally was just like telling my network, hey, if you know anyone who needs help with Facebook and Instagram ads, send my way. I sent messages to businesses in my local area that I thought I could help and that could benefit from this service. So that's really kind of how I started. And then once I transitioned into the courses and memberships, I used all of these skills that I was using for my clients for my own business.
I love that focus on
Yeah.
just one thing,
Mm-hmm.
because, as you say, it helps you to get known really quickly, to build your expertise, to be the go-to expert in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I've done in my business as well. It's like, well, this is what I'm doing. I specialize in this. And just go out to your network. Hey, this is what I'm doing now. And then you just get clients. And it
Yeah.
only takes one client to get you started, because then you have your testimonials, you have the referrals, and it
Yep.
all snowballs from there. Plus, you have the confidence that you can actually do something worthwhile and get paid for it. And that then builds your confidence to go out and do more of the same thing. So I love that you kept it simple. Having guided lots of people through that same process now,
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that you've had lots of people go, yeah, it makes sense to do one thing and just tell people, but,
Yes.
and you can go to pretty much 90% of the small business websites out there, and they're like, and we do this and this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to anyone listening to this episode who is freaking out a little bit, that's saying, yeah, but I can't just offer one thing. It has to be all of this. Do you have any advice that works for your clients and helps them to make that mindset shift?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's kind of the stereotypical quote of like, the riches are in the niches, right? So when you focus on one thing, you are able to speak to that person and the problem that you are solving so much better. So, for example, when I am working with my clients and customers and they're building their first online course or membership or coaching program, one of the things that I teach them to do is to actually write down all of their ideas that they could teach. And each one has a specific result, right? And then we take all of those ideas and we actually run Facebook and Instagram ads for just a few $100s and put those ideas in front of thousands of people. And what's great about this is that you get data back and like unemotional feedback. Because a lot of times when we are, well, I need to offer everything, it's because you feel like you're missing out on something if you're not offering everything. You're missing out on an opportunity. Or it's because your mom or your partner or your sister or your best friend is telling you, this is what you need to do, when in reality, they probably are not your ideal customer and they probably have no experience in what you are actually doing, but they have an opinion, right? And you value who they are. So you take that opinion, where instead, when I teach this process of using Facebook and Instagram ads to put all of your ideas out there, there's no emotion attached to it. You just get direct data back from thousands of people saying, this is the thing that I am most interested in, and this is the result that you should be selling. So I think that's a big part of it. Is it's scary because you are eliminating some opportunities because you are focused, but really when you focus is when you are able to scale in a lot more passive way, right? Because you're able to create processes and figure out one sales funnel that converts like crazy that you can drive everyone to. That is how you scale without working 24/7. So like for me, in my business, like we focused on one course, and really that one course and that one sales funnel and helping that one person achieve that one result. And that's how I've been able to scale it to just that one course to over $1 million every year for the last 4 years. That's just one course. No other offerings, just one course is making us $1 million every year. And that's how I'm able to make that income that I want and also only work 2 days a week. It's because I offer one thing, one result, and we do it really, really well. And then we drive a ton of traffic to it.
And what I've seen with my clients as well,
Yeah.
when we get them focused on that one thing,
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly people from outside that niche that they were worried that they would turn off are actually coming to them saying, "Oh, I know you do this for these kind of people, but would you consider working with me?" Because they can see, as you say, that one result. And that's the thing you're really selling, is
Yeah.
the result. And then they can see that in a different context. Like, well, I want that result as well. And I get it myself. I get all sorts of people coming to me and saying, "Oh, I see that this is what you do. Could you consider working with me?" In having your niche, you actually draw more people to you because you're being so clear and specific. Is that your same experience?
Yes, because when you're talking to a really specific audience and you're selling a really specific result, you are able to convert people into a customer and client a lot easier because they can read your messaging and your copy and your website and your emails or listen to your podcast and figure out immediately, is this for me or no? Right? And if they say no, that's great. Let them go out and figure out who's going to be better to serve them. But if they immediately say, oh my gosh, I feel like you're reading my mind, then you are going to be able to convert them into a client or customer much easier. And you're probably going to be able to charge higher prices because they really feel seen and heard, and they like, know, and trust you a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest thing, is when you are trying to be everything to everyone or you're selling 8 different products, right? People get confused. They don't know, what is this for me? Is this not for me? And when you are really focused, your messaging is focused. So people know immediately, yes, this is my person. This is who I need to work with, or nope, this isn't who I want to work with, and move on. And that's really how you're able to scale and again, become known for something and create a community and a tribe who feel really bought into your message and what you have to offer them.
Yeah. And when it comes to creating that one course,
Mhm.
uh, is there a particular size of course or price of course or type of course that works best for a passive product?
Absolutely. So, courses and memberships, I think there's a lot of messaging around passive income, but there is definitely a way that you need to set them up to make them actually passive, right? So that again goes back to this idea of we're putting our ideas in front of thousands of people because you need thousands of people to be even interested in what you have to offer to be able to make the money that you want in a passive way. So I really focus on figuring out how to convert a cold audience, someone who's never heard of you before, into a sale very quickly. And that's when, in order to do that, you do have to have that very specific messaging down, right? But not even just that, but your course or your membership needs to be created in a way that it doesn't matter if 10 people are in it or 1,000. So things like you can't offer one-on-one coaching in a course or a membership if you're wanting to scale it significantly. Also, if you want to use things like Facebook and Instagram ads to drive traffic to your course or membership, you can't have a course that is priced less than $500 because basically it's not going to be profitable. Or if you're thinking about a membership, most membership, if you're again using cold traffic like Facebook and Instagram ads to drive to your membership, you're probably going to pay between 2 to 3 months worth of that membership payment to acquire a new customer. So if your membership is $15 a month, you're probably going to pay between $30 to $45 to acquire a new member, which means that retention is really important if you have a membership. So all of these things are based on my experience running my own programs and also just all the different clients that I've worked with, again, building funnels and running Facebook ads. And that's really how you do this passively, is creating it in a way that can serve 1,000, 10,000 people, but also being able to hone in on that messaging so that you can drive cold traffic to your business and convert them.
Mm. So when it comes to getting that all set up, there's the messaging and the design of the course and everything. And then
Yeah.
there's the whole tech side. And
Yes.
what we've heard from a lot of guests on this show is they're like, yeah, I'm just going to set up a course. And then they realize, oh, I need to set up this and that and a landing page and the email sequences. And there are so many moving parts that they become overwhelmed before they start. Do
Yes.
you have any advice on how someone who isn't already a digital technical whiz can get started with that process?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say I was in the same boat. Like it took me 2 years to figure out how to make this possible for myself because there were so many moving pieces and so many opinions on how to launch and how to do this and whatever. And I'm all about simple because again, I want this business to fit around my life, right? Not my business to be my life. So, first and foremost, there is one very important aspect that if you are going to sell a course or membership that you have to create, and that is a funnel, a sales funnel, right? And why this is super important is because of what I just said, which is people need to like, know, and trust you before they work with you, right? Now, if you have a giant social media following or a giant, YouTube subscribers, or you have tons of people listening to your podcast, then you have a lot of people that you can sell to. But most of us who are like the kind of average online entrepreneurs, right? We don't have these giant audiences to sell to. So in order for you to scale your business and to scale a course or membership, you are going to have to sell to cold audiences. And the best way to convert a cold audience to a sale is creating that sales funnel. And I keep it super simple. So you run an ad on Facebook or Instagram. That ad goes to a landing page or an opt-in page where someone enters in their information to get access to a webinar or a free training or a free masterclass that you've put together. After that, they've watched that webinar, there's email sequence that follows up with them, telling them more about your product, helping overcome objections, to tell your story, and then hopefully they become a customer, right? That's as simple as it can be and exactly what I teach and what I use for my own business. And there's really only one piece of software that does all of that. And that's why I'm a huge proponent of it. And that's called Kajabi. My whole business is basically built on it because you can create landing pages, you can host webinars, you can create sales pages on there. They have the checkout pages for you. And then it also can house all of your content for your members or your students. So it can be overwhelming, but if you use something like a Kajabi, right, that kind of already has the basic pieces in there for you, it can be a lot easier than trying to piece everything together, right? Like when I got started, I think I was using like 10 different softwares and they were all breaking because I was trying to get them to talk to each other. Where now we really just use Kajabi. It literally has everything that you need in order to build this type of business. And again, what I love about it is you're not relying on, your social media following or having to follow up on DMs or go live. And, using kind of this webinar sales funnel sequence, you're able to scale in a lot more predictable way. And also without having to feel like you need to be on 24/7.
Yeah, I think you lit up a lot of people there by saying you can bypass the whole social media thing. So I know so many
Yes.
people are like, no, I don't want to have to post again or do videos and all of that.
Yep.
And I'm a big fan of Kajabi as well. That's where my business is.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an example, like I just got back from a long weekend trip with my family, and I think I worked for a few hours one day while my girls were napping, and over those 5 days that we were gone, our business brought in $21,000 in sales. I was not selling things. I wasn't posting really on social media. I like shared a few stories of my girls running around a science center. Like it wasn't anything that I felt like I like constantly was having to sell, but because I have this sales funnel that is up and I'm constantly driving traffic to it, it does all the work for me, which is again how I'm able to make so much passive income working only 2 days a week. Yeah.
So the one thing you've mentioned there that I know is something else that people get overwhelmed by
Yes.
very easily, myself included, is the very first part of that funnel is
Yes.
Facebook ads. And I know that they can be amazing because you can customize the audience, see exactly what's going on and make the tweaks as you go.
Yep.
But just opening up the platform, it's kind of like, whoa, this is like
Yeah.
space station. Where do I
Yes.
start? Do
Yes.
you have any advice for people on getting started with Facebook ads or how to find support and someone reliable that could help you with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Facebook and Instagram ads can definitely be overwhelming, right? It's a whole new platform. If you're talking about tech, this is probably the place where people get stuck, right? And it's really hard because now that I've been in this business, for almost 7 years now, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that a lot of online business owners have. It's okay, I want to scale, right? And I know that Facebook and Instagram ads can help me scale my business. However, I'm not in the place where I can spend $2,500 on an ads manager each month and $5,000 on ads, right? So it's kind of like, okay, which came first? Like, okay, I have to spend this money, even though I might not be in a position in my business to do that. But if I want to grow, I feel like I have to do this. So I totally get that dilemma. And I've seen it so many times, which is why, like in my program where I teach all about courses and memberships, one of the biggest things that we have is we have Facebook and Instagram ads support. So we have coaching calls that you can get on and talk to an ads manager who does this and has handled, millions of dollars in ad spend. And we can go into your ad account and help you set things up and help you understand the data and all of that kind of stuff. Because again, you need to almost like learn this in order to scale. But also it's a great skill to know so that when you are at that point that you can hire an ads manager, that you can ask really good questions and make sure that they actually are getting you the results that you want. So I know Facebook and Instagram ads can be overwhelming, but it's kind of like anything that you just have to start And as you do it, you're going to learn more and more and more, right? Like I joke because when I was first hired as a digital media buyer at the political consulting firm, I didn't even know what a pixel was, which is hilarious because like first day on the job, I'm supposed to be setting up Facebook ads, which I've never done in my entire life. And they talk about pixels and I have no idea what I'm talking about. And now I've spent, millions of dollars and I've managed millions of dollars and I've even worked on like presidential campaigns and it all just comes from experience. And the only way that you can get experience is by starting and trying and doing. But it is also a lot easier to do that when you have someone holding your hand and to ask, questions too. Yeah.
Yeah. I know recently on the show we had Fiona Nichols, who has produced a skincare product range, and
Yep.
she did that from her bed with a broken back. She previously bred horses. She'd never even stepped foot in an office, and she
Right.
managed to figure out Facebook ads. So it is
Yeah.
possible. It can be a little bit painful, but so is everything that you
Right.
learn for the first time. So
Yes.
yeah, and if you can have someone hold your hand, all the better.
Well, and you don't have to like dive all in all at once, right? You can start by spending $10 a day or $5 a day and seeing the data that's coming in and just learning from that so that when you are ready to invest more in the platform and in, really this great tool that we have to scale our business as small business owners, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable with investing in it because of the even small experience that you do have with it already.
And I know a while ago when I first started looking into Facebook ads,
Yeah.
Facebook had a library where you could go in and you can see exactly what your competitors are doing. And
Yeah.
you can see all of their ads. It's like, wow, does that still exist?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't see like the type of campaign they're running or the audience that they are targeting, but Facebook actually has an ads library. So they started this after the 2016 election in the States to make it more transparent about who is running what ads. But you can Google Facebook ads library. It'll pop up and you can put like any business's name. So you can put my name in there, put Anna Konchar into the Facebook ads library and it'll pull up all of the ads that are currently active that I am running. And you can do that for anyone who has a business page that is actively running ads. Now, you're not going to be able to see the ads that I ran 4 years ago, but you will be able to see the ads that I'm running today, currently.
Yeah. So that's a great source of inspiration, but just a real big caveat
Yeah.
there. Do not copy what anyone else is doing. It can be
Yeah.
tempting if it's working for them. Hey, I'll just copy paste, but it won't work for you because you want to build your own brand, your own messages, and you want to customize that. But for sure,
Well,
be inspired by how they
mhm.
use the language, the kind of structure, the images, emojis, no emojis, whatever, all of that kind of
Yep.
thing
Yes.
can really help kickstart your process.
And the biggest thing that I will say with that too is oftentimes when we look at what other people are doing, we're looking at people who have bigger businesses than us. And what is going to work for someone who has hundreds of thousands of followers and a huge email list and a very big warm audience to sell to, what's going to work for them is not going to work for you when you are trying to go after someone who's never heard of you before. So again, great place for inspiration, but always remember your business, your audience, your offerings are totally different than anyone else's.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly as we said right at the beginning, if you're focused on that one thing, that one result, that one
Yep.
audience, then
Yep.
it absolutely has to be different. Something else, you've mentioned courses and memberships.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask, do you have a preference, one or the other? Or if you're starting this for the first time, is
Mhm.
one easier to get started with, or one makes sense over the other? Are there pros and cons? What's your advice in that respect?
So there are definitely pros and cons to both. And I have both in my business. I started out with a course that is a 6-week course that then rolls into an optional kind of alumni membership. And that's a really great model because you're able to get that upfront purchase, but then also continue to work with them even after that course is over. The great thing about that, one of the pros about courses is that most consumers would rather pay for something once, right? Like the idea of a membership that keeps renewing every month is not ideal as a consumer. But that being said, in order to have a course that is profitable and you're able to invest in things like ads, it does need to be a higher price. It can't be a $200 course. Otherwise, it won't be profitable. So the pro of a course is that it can be easier to sell, but also you do need to have a higher price if you want it to be profitable and be able to invest in something like ads. The con of a course is that, it's a course and typically it's for a specific amount of time and then you're done working with that person. So you need to oftentimes think about something like an alumni program or an ongoing membership after they've completed that course so that you can continue to give them support. Now, from a membership side, a membership is great because oftentimes it is a lower price point, so it can be more appealing to consumers that way. But you have to give them a reason to come back every single month. So with a course, what's great about that is you can create the content once and then sell it again and again and again and again. You're not having to create new things every single month. Where with a membership, you don't necessarily have to create something new each month, but you need to give them a reason to stay. So for example, in the membership that we run, it is kind of set up like a course where you have access to the membership content, but then we also offer weekly coaching calls to help people continue to stay engaged and answer questions and things like that. We also offer like a monthly newsletter. So again, I'm not creating new content like that day and new lessons or anything like that, but even just a monthly newsletter talking about what's working, what's not, things to try this coming month for your business. So again, you have to give people a reason to stay. So there are definitely pros and cons to both. You need to figure out what's going to fit best for what you want from your business. And then also what makes the most sense based on the result that you are selling. So for the course that I have, like the result that I'm selling, we can get them that result in 6 weeks. Where the membership, it would be extremely hard for me to help someone start their own course, launch it, get feedback from their students, launch it again, and scale it in a very short amount of time, right? So the membership makes sense because they can continue to stay in, and then also they can come and figure out based on where they are in their business what fits best for them and stay for the length of time that works best for where they are in their business. So again, it's more based on what do you want to create? What do you want your business to look like? But also what's going to help your students get that result that you are selling, and also how to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. So if everyone who teaches the result that you are selling has a course, maybe you should do a membership. Or if everyone has a membership, like you're in the health space, everyone has memberships, do a course. You just have to test and try out things and figure out what works.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the challenge, particularly around marketing. You never know what's going to work.
Absolutely
It
not.
is all experimentation. You can take inspiration and you can start somewhere with like an educated guess, but you never know for sure. I'll put this together and it's 100% going to work. And it's the same with your business as well. You never quite know. It is all testing, putting something out there. And as you say, ideally putting it out there before you've gone to the effort of putting it all together and find out, oh, that's not what people want. And there are these methods of putting it out there and testing as you go so that you can be smart and then launch something once that's going to work and then build this fantastic business and have that passive income. When it comes to getting things set up, you work 2 days a week now.
Yes.
Is it possible to get it all set up in 2 days a week? Do you need to invest more time initially and then shift to 2 days a week? What's that look like?
So I have never really worked more than 25 hours a week in my business. And I think a lot of that is because I really have focused on what are the profit driving activities in my business, right? I really try to stay away from shiny object syndrome. I really try to use data as the thing that is leading me on what I need to work on instead of my emotions, But yeah, absolutely. You do not need to be, it takes time to set up this type of business, right? But when I launched my first course, I had all of my one-on-one clients, right? So this was kind of like my side hustle to my client work, but I still was not working more than 25 hours really a week. I just set aside times of like, okay, Mondays are client days and Tuesdays I'm going to work on my business, and then Wednesdays I'm going to have meetings, and just kind of, making sure that I'm setting aside time, prioritizing not just my clients, but also my own business and how I want to grow it is really, really, really key. And again, just making sure that you're focusing on the right things and reinvesting in your business, because that's how you're going to grow.
And I know from my experience of building my business around my kids, I did only have maximum 25 hours a
Yes.
week to put in, and I was not going to work in the evenings. I was just too exhausted.
Yeah.
But it teaches you a lot of discipline, and there is so much you can do in that time. As you say, if you're focusing on the right things and not all the things you think, oh, maybe I could do this or I should do that, or forget all that nonsense.
Yep.
Just focus on what you need to do and what works. So, Anna, you shared so much value and just so many amazing things to start with,
Mhm.
food for thought. And I'm sure anyone listening has already got some great ideas on how they can bring in that passive element to their
Mhm.
business if they haven't already got it, or what they can do to really like scale that up and make it work for them and give them
Yeah.
more freedom, more choice in their business. Is there any advice that you have for the audience that perhaps we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, I definitely think the two really important things. Number one is don't feel defeated if the first time that you offer your course or membership, you have no sales or only a few sales. I think sometimes, we see these big, massive numbers and things like, I share one of our courses has done over $1 million every year for the last 4 years. Like when I first launched my course, I thought I was going to make thousands and thousands of dollars because that's what you see online, right? But the reality was is the very first time that I offered my course, I had 5 people buy it. 5. And that for me was like, okay, great. This is amazing. Like this is just the beginning, but it's also very small compared to the giant massive launches that you see other people doing online. But you have to remember that that is just the beginning. And those 5 people have validated that what you are selling, people want and are willing to pay for. So when I launched my course, I had 5 people buy it the first time. Within 12 months, I had made $250,000 off of that course. So I just want to say that like when you start out, it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. It's also okay if you only have one person and your mom buy it, because you almost need to have only a few people go through it so it's not overwhelming, and so that you can tweak it to make it the best content and coaching possible.
Thank you for
Oh,
bringing that up because we gravitate to these like big figures, like, wow. And then we feel really disappointed when that's not our reality. But you
yes.
mentioned earlier Amy Porterfield, and I know her and Marie
Yeah.
Forleo and all these big names. They're all very public about, their first few courses and launches were a complete flop. But
Yep.
that's what taught them what it takes to succeed. And your
Yes.
first clients are often your co-creators. They're the ones that
Yep.
teach you what it takes, what they really want, and how to shape that in a way that works for you and your clients. So it's never a loss. That you can always reuse that information and make it better for the next one.
Absolutely. And then the second thing that I will say is to reinvest in your business, right? So I have done this in 2 different ways. I will say I tried to do this by myself for like 2 years. And I thought I could do it by myself because, again, my background is in marketing. I have an MBA. I should be able to figure this out, right? And I couldn't. So I hired a business coach. I worked with a business coach. I worked with someone who had achieved what I wanted. And that was a pivotal shift in my future and in my business, because I went from trying to figure this out by myself for 2 years to launching a successful course and scaling it in 6 months. And it's all because I invested back in my business. And not just that, but then I invested in things like using the best software like Kajabi instead of the cheapest software. And I invested in Facebook and Instagram ads to scale my business. So in the beginning, invest in your business as much as you can, because that's really how you're going to get that exponential growth very quickly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with any of that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thanks for all of your advice. So, if anyone listening wants to know more about the work that you do or how to create a passive income, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on my podcast, which is Your $1,000,000 Side Hustle, or you can find me at annakonchar.com. And if you want to learn more about building your course or membership, you can check out my program, Powered by Passive Academy, which is poweredbypassiveacademy.com as well.
Fantastic. And I'll put all those links in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Anna, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you.
I'll let you get back to your traveling and your adventures with your kids. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you took away as much value as I did. And if you enjoyed the show, then I'd love it if you could leave a review on iTunes and share this podcast with your network and business besties. Let's help everyone to dream bigger and achieve more. There are a lot more tools, tips, and insights coming up for you in the next episode. So don't miss next week's podcast, or better still, subscribe now so you never miss your weekly dose of inspiration. I've been Melita Campbell, business coach and value whisperer, and I look forward to meeting you in the next episode.